All right, welcome to Gundam Explained. My name is Adam. Today we're going to look at Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway. I'll give my impressions and overall review. And there might be some spoilers here and there, but I don't think this is necessarily too much of a spoilery type of movie. This is the first in a trilogy, and really the movie, by the time you're finished with it, you might be asking, okay, well, what was that all about? Because really, it's to lead into the next couple films. So another thing to take into account is this is a sequel. So for those of you that are Gundam fans, you might understand it will be easy for you to watch this. If it's your first time watching this, or first time watching Gundam, you might want to at least watch Char's Counterattack before. Because this takes place after that. Now, it's Universal Century 105, and Char's Counterattack was Universal Century 93, I believe. So what's going on is, during Char's Counterattack, Hathaway fell in love with a girl, and she happened to be a new type. And I forgot if they even talked about that in the movie, but regardless, she ends up dying, and it had to do with the fact that these people were fighting. In the kind of theme of Gundam is that these adults fighting, it's nonsense. War is nonsense. And so these younger characters get caught up in that. And so what happens in this newer film is he is part of a terrorist organization that is attacking the Earth Federation force. And it's almost similar to Zeta Gundam. So after we had Mobile Suit Gundam and the Principality of Zeon was somewhat defeated, even though there were remnants that remained, in Zeta Gundam there was the Anti-Earth Union Guild. The AUG. And they were actually attacking Earth Federation because the Earth Federation had the Titans team, which were these kind of advanced weaponized mobile suits. And the idea was there's no reason for Earth to continue to make these weapons. The justification is to fight the remnants of Zeon, but Char was trying to lead kind of an initiative to stop the Earth Federation government from creating all these weapons. So what we get in Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway is a similar thing. The Earth Federation now has these hunters, and they go out, and it's very similar to some present-day issues where you have these enforcers that are going out, and they even show it in this film, and they're asking people for their identification to prove that they belong here. And they even have mobile suits where they've built a manned gun turret below the cockpit. And so that's kind of crazy to see. It's this like militarization of the police force within the Mobile Suit Gundam universe. It's very cool. And so, but as we go in the story, we are seeing that side of the Earth Federation force while we're seeing Hathaway he sort of reveals his identity, but you kind of go the film where most of the people don't realize that he is this terrorist Mafty. So he then is able to plan an attack where you get a great scene where it's in Northern Australia, I believe, or unless that was Sydney and he had to go to Northern Australia. I got to get the geography down, but there's a great scene at night in a city where you see, the buildings getting attacked, people trying to run away, reminiscent of F-91 or even Zeta Gundam, that scene before Camille steals the Titans Mark II. Another interesting part in this film was when Hathaway was in a cab, and this is what's interesting about this film is by Hathaway not revealing that he's a terrorist as he's going through the story, he's having conversations with people, and this is kind of a dialogue-heavy film, but he's having conversations with people where he's hearing their perspective, and it almost looks like then his mind is being changed about the actions he is taking, because people are talking down to Mafty, even though they are trying to stop the Earth Federation force from militarizing itself. They point out the inconsistencies of the fact that Mafty themselves are creating terror, or letting civilians die, etc. It's a really good kind of point to talk about in the film. And so there's a point where Hathaway is in a cab, and the cab driver is also criticizing Mafty to Hathaway, and Hathaway's the cab driver's just saying he shouldn't be killing people like this. It's what he's doing is wrong. And then Hathaway says, well, this is a plan he puts in motion to hope it will last 1,000 years. And the cab driver's laughing, saying, yeah, luckily he can plan out that far. I have to think about my next meal. I have to think about how I'm going to get I have no planned a time to think about tomorrow when I have to work. And it's very, very similar to things going on today with, the workforce, around the world. How, there's a lot of life and culture. Work is embedded into that, where you can't really escape it. And to some people, it's such a burden where they have to live paycheck to paycheck. And, some people not. And that kind of shows that entitled or the elitism, which we're seeing with Hathaway. Again, he is the son of, Bright Noah, one of the greatest, legendary, commanders, captain, and then maybe he went to Mir, but throughout the early Mobile Suit Gundam timeline. So we're seeing this kind of entitled character, yet he does have a point because he sees the love of his life killed in front of him. In this story, you meet this, and that was Quest. But in this story, you meet, what's her name? I can't believe I forgot. Gigi. And I guess she's a mistress for someone, and that's why she happens to be in the place to meet Hathaway Noah, because he's supposed to be with a bunch of other high-ranking officials, and he just happened to get aboard, and that's how she kind of maybe figures out there's more to Hathaway than he's revealing. But, this character was a little annoying at first because she was just, kind of creating the drama for the scenes, and you can see then Hathaway falling for her but trying not to. And, I hope as the other films go, we get more of that character. Because during the destruction scene of the city, he's trying to rescue her, and he's holding her and he's taking her. We actually see that right here. Really cool scene. Actually, let me see if I can resume and not get blocked. I get my videos blocked so easily when I show too much stuff going on. Let's see. But yeah, so the thing is that he's seeing this character, Gigi, just like he's seeing Quest from Char's Counterattack, where it's like he wants to fall in love with her, but he also doesn't want to because of what can happen, Yeah, just kind of... Okay, this is distracting me. But... Oh, it's not even showing up on here. I wonder if that is a protection mechanism. I'm sure because I'm streaming it is not wanting to show it. But regardless, so that's the thing about this kind of the character arc with Hathaway and Gigi is very similar to Quest and Hathaway from the Char's Counterattack. So as the other movies come out, and again, there's a novel and I believe a manga of this. So really, I could look at that and read it, but I kind of don't want to for now. But what I'm kind of guessing what's going to happen in the next couple of films, we probably might see. Again, I'm skipping a part. There's a quick conversation they have where they talk about new types and studying in school, and they both agreed it's not true, even though they studied about them. And I thought that was very interesting because, I'm of the belief that it is possible that Hathaway could be a new type. And this Gigi character, to me, seems like she's a new type. There are scenes that occur, especially at the beginning in the airplane, where it seems like they are able to get the upper hand in situations because they happen to just know what to do next and be in sync. And there's even where he hears a voice in his head, and it sounds like Quest, and then he sees Gigi looking at him, where Gigi is asking him, he's not, I forget what it was when he was up against the terrorist. So you can see that she had the confidence, and he was able to pick up on that, and they were able to work together, sort of. And so really what I'm trying to say is there is a lot of new typeness to this, unless this is just that Japanese cultural barrier that is hard for me to break. And because what it is this film is pretty dark, and it's gory, and it's really targeted to an age group that grew up watching Mobile Suit Gundam. And a lot of that just has to do with the content. So there's not times where, oh, this is made for kids, or oh, that's a little goofy. I mean, this is straight up, pretty serious. So when there are those new type kind of scenes that occur, and there are mowers in the back, so hopefully that doesn't come through. But so when scenes like that come up, it's very easy for me to think, okay, so this could be them hinting at the new type development. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, as we then go in the other movies, we will then see the new type discussion occur maybe a little more. That can explain the connection that Gigi and Hathaway have, and maybe that can. Maybe through time, Hathaway understands maybe his actions aren't the way to go, but maybe there's another way to stop the Earth Federation force. That's who has the Penelope Gundam. So the Earth Federation, brings up, hey, they got the new prototype. I think Kenneth Slegg was the one that mentioned it, and I guess Lane Aim is the young Amuro Camille type that's actually piloting the Penelope Gundam. And then there's the She Gundam. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's XI. That all of a sudden, MAFTI, the terrorist organization, had, and it was something they intercepted out in the upper atmosphere, and then were able to get back into the Earth's atmosphere with it. And so that's where the cool final battle occurs. And I'm just curious if they explain more of how he got that Gundam, and it might just lead to the other cool sub-story of Gundam where Anaheim Electronics made the Penelope, and they made another one for a terrorist organization. Not too dissimilar to, weapons dealings here in the world between nations and organizations where, hey, if you got the money to buy a weapon, anyone will make it for you. So I think there's a lot of cool threads crossed here that are similar to issues in modern times, even though this is based off a novel written in the late 80s. And then they have, the exposition between the main characters. While there's a lot of it, I think it sets their characters up for the future films. So really, at the end of the day, this is a really good entry in Mobile Suit Gundam, especially with how serious it is, and without it doing too much as a white American male growing up mainly watching, Western things. This doesn't go too far into that Japanese kind of culture barrier where I think it has to do with when, and this could be a translation issue. A lot of times when there's a lot of exposition of characters talking to each other, a lot of it could be easily lost on American audiences because of the kind of the depth in. It's almost like these characters are speaking what's on people's minds, and it's made into a story. And I kind of appreciate it for that. But anyway, really, that's all I got. Was I going to bring up anything else? I might do a follow-up. I've watched it 1.5 times and really liked it. If anyone's got any other comments or thoughts, or maybe something I explained incorrectly or need to correct me, feel free to put it in the comments. I'd like to talk more about this movie because, again, it was better than I thought it would be. And I can't wait for more. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll talk again later.